Yeah, I've got a lot of boring and unglorious work to finish now here on the 39 Hudson project. Not the kind of stuff you would see on those fake and so-called reality TV car shows. This is all new fabrication, can you believe it? Look at it. This is what happens when a project stands for almost 2 years. So as you can see, yeah, this a lot of these parts are just tack welded together. This piece needs to be cut off and capped. These welds need to be finished off and completed. Lots of stuff like that to do. So this tab right here takes this bracket, same in the bottom, and then they will hold the fuel tank that will sit there, clamped onto the fuel tank. Now yeah, all of this is just tacked on when I was doing the fabrication. So all of these welds need to be finished off. The noise you've been hearing in the background comes from this TLB that's busy scratching here in my yard. Yes, finally getting around to leveling an area where I want to park some precious metal. We chopped down a lot of pine trees to clear the space quite some time ago. Something like 40 trees if memory serves. The ultimate plan is to put up a barn. If and when that will happen, I don't know. To get a contractor out here is pretty expensive, and I'm too poor for that. And besides, I don't like strangers in my space. Maybe I can convince the barefoot mechanic and a few other motley local characters to help me one day.
Yeah, reacquainting myself with work that was never completed back then. You can see this is also just tacked on. Same down there. So all of this needs to be welded up. Yeah, look down there. Below this arm for the watch link. Unfinished welds. Same this side. Unfinished welds. And here. And here. And down there. And I see now that the rear bracket for the parallel 4-link suspension is also not welded. Yeah, and to make matters even worse now, because this project has been standing for so long, I've got all this rust to deal with. Now if we want to do proper welding, or try to do proper welding, you can't leave the rust. Which means all of these joints need to be cleaned back and taken back to bright metal. So I've made a start here, and now let me tell you that there's nothing glorious about finishing cars and building cars and getting them to a point where you can drive them and where they can actually do what they're supposed to do. Unlike many of the builds that I see out there that never gets finished, just the glorious aesthetic parts of it you get to see. Yeah, it is literally and figuratively just a grind.
So a cool little trick if you want to cap the end of the box section. I want my filler piece to sit inside there. So I just tacked on a bit of flat bar, scrap piece. Now it can't fall down the hole. And it's going to line up very nicely. It works well, worth the trouble. And once the little piece is tacked into place, I can just knock this off. Yes. Yes, so after some intimate time with the weld blender, I've now got the sculpty look that I wanted. This cross member piece can actually unbolt, so I'm going to take it off quickly because I need access to that contraption right there. Yeah, when I built it, I thought it's better if it can be removed for access to that airbag setup. I suppose it can be welded, but this is strong enough. This bolt for the upper suspension link goes through the same bracket. Now it should be loose. Yes, so this cross member should be able to come off now. It's got the stuff. There we go.
Much later.
Yeah, now I've got the back wheels off for access to finish all these other outstanding bits. It's awkward welding, man. Got to crawl around upside down, difficult to reach. No wonder I didn't finish it back then. And frustrating as well, because now I've got to first remove all of the rust that has developed since then, so I can do the welding properly. And I see now that these bottom bag mounts are also just tacked, and they would also need to be fully welded. Well, I'm not going to try and do that now. Access is just too limited. So I'll take care of that when I've got this whole thing stripped down and the diff is out of here again. Same with this unfinished welding here on the suspension link mount bracket. Yeah, it will be just so much easier to do this welding when I've got the diff out of here. So another thing for later. Right, so I finished all of this welding here, but now I see that the bottom of this box section still needs to be capped. I need to do some welding underneath there, and same here where this new piece doesn't look new anymore, does it? Where this connects to the original frame or the Isuzu frame, I've got some welding to do under there. Got some welding to do here under these cross members. And that would mean I need to jack this thing up a bit more, crawl in underneath on my back, do upside down welding, have hot balls of steel falling on me. And quite frankly, I don't think I've got the guts and the energy for that right now. And then I thought to myself, you know what, I need to take this thing apart completely anyway. So why don't I then, when it's all stripped down, flip the frame onto its side, and then I can finish all of that underneath welding quickly and easily. Let's call it a case of working smarter and not harder. So I suppose I'm giving up on finishing the welding for now.
You make me feel like I'm losing my mind.
Wheels back on for now, just so that we can have a roller and move it around if we want to. And now I'm going to be very honest with you. There is currently a lack of motivation here with me. Yeah, you know, this is all supposed to be fresh and new fabrication, but it doesn't look or feel like it. with all of this rust. That's my own fault, of course. I mean, this thing was essentially standing outside for more than a year and a half. It was under a roof, but open to the elements, and I only live about 30 kilometers from the coast. So the rust settles in quickly. So yes, I know I'm into the whole rad rod thing, and I've got stupid signs on my wall saying trust the rust. And this one. And stickers like this one. But I would really like to have all these parts nicely painted and looking good. And I have two reasons for wanting to do that. Number one, the contrast that you will get between the rusty body panels and a nicely painted custom fabrication appeals to me. And number two, I would like to accentuate the fact that rad rods need not be an excuse for sloppy mechanics and bad workmanship. Too much of that out there. Too many guys saying, oh, rad rod builders, they are just an excuse for guys who can't build proper cars. So I want to destroy that notion. So the vision I have is you'll be standing far away and you'll see this rusty truck, and as you get closer and deeper, then you're going to see beautifully painted custom fabrication, proper engineering, hopefully proper functioning parts. Remember, all this back here is going to be completely visible and open. I'm not covering that up, so it will be visible at all times. So that's the vision I have in my head. So all we need now is some motivation again, which will come.
Only dare to dream. Only dare to dream. Only dare to dream. It could all come true tomorrow if you only dare to dream.
You can take this whole thing apart, sandblast all of this, paint it nicely. I'm not sure what color yet. We'll have to see how it's going to turn out and what happens. And then hopefully I can get my vision together. And on that note, thanks for hanging out with me and listening to my stories and my carrying ons out here in the forest. I'll see you oaks next week. Until then, as always, have a lekker one. So I think I'm going to spend the rest of the day sitting in a chair and building cars in my mind.